Hello everyone, welcome to the Lord of the Rings trading card game World Championship Circuit games for July. This month we are doing a Swiss tournament based around PC Expanded. We've already got 10 people here in the queue, so that's going to be a 4-round Swiss. We'll be starting here in just about a minute or so. The event begins at 1300. This is for the EU time zone, so we will be seeing a good number of people from across the pond. And yeah, for the moment it will be solo commentary, but I hope that Mock will be showing up here soon, and then I can have a co-host to be going off with. But yeah, so we will just be waiting for these games to begin. This may be a little bit shakier than normal because PC Expanded is not a format that I am as well versed in as some of the others. There's quite a lot of stuff that could happen, so it'll be interesting to see what all happens. So here we go. The tournament itself is kicked off. There's 10 individuals in the queue, meaning 4 rounds, as said before. So we should be seeing those tables come up here in just about a minute. So as a reminder to people who may not be familiar with the changes that PC formats incorporate, of course we are going to have the virtual sets, V1, V2, as well as the all the normal decipher cards from from the entire game history, so all the way from set 0 all the way up to set 19. There are also a couple of rule changes. Discard piles are public information for both sides, so we'll be able to see that information here on stream. And the game ends after regroup actions are complete, not at the start of the regroup phase. So Shadow players have one last Hail Mary to perform any regroup actions. So taking a look at the tables, looks like we have Sandra 96 versus Balrog 69. We have Wingfoot 81 versus Inolan. We have Chadwick 537 versus Basmelis, the reigning world champion, and Distali versus Stefan 77, and Quincy Jones versus Mozdrev. Let's see, which one of these should we hop on to first? This one looks like it's going to be interesting. So Wingfoot versus Inolan. Looks like Wingfoot has played quite a Free People's side. We have the Errated Mary Horticulturist, which is going to be able to be used to pull Shire allies from your deck. We have Galadriel Lady Redeemed being played for free. We have Smeagol being played for free, well, except for the burden that you have to add. Gambling, and then the Aragorn Strider, which is only one Twilight to play, but then you have to add a Twilight every time you move. So we have quite a loaded starting fellowship. And we have Erkenbrand's Horn coming out. Now, Erkenbrand's Horn is, in regular Expanded, able to filter pretty much your entire deck of followers. The PC errata given to it ensure that it only pulls Rohan followers. And so here we have Mary being used to pull Tom Bombadil. So we're going to be seeing some of that. And we've already got this loop going on. We have new chapters saying each time you play a follower, you may heal a companion, and that is being looped with Erkenbrand's Horn, which exerts the bearer gambling to pull out a follower, and then because playing a follower has you heal a companion, he is now able to filter every single Rohan follower out of his deck. This exact combo is something that well, we were trying to tamp down on, but as you can see, it did not stop this turn 1 atrocity. But, you know, that is kind of what what goes on in Expanded. So it looks like he's pulled 4 copies of Rohan Worker, 4 copies of Rohan Stablemaster, and 1 copy of Rohirrim Door Warden, only pulling the 1 because that one is unique. So each of these, every maneuver phase, are going to be able to be transferred to a companion. To those not familiar with followers, they were Decipher's follow-up to allies. And so the way it goes is that every turn you must pay their aid cost if you're going to use them during the maneuver phase. You then transfer it to a companion and you get some sort of benefit. So in this case, each time bearer wins a skirmish, you may liberate a site, which may or may not be all that helpful. But there are various effects, especially Shire effects, that will transfer followers away or discard followers to get some sort of beneficial effect. So here we see all of these being transferred over to Gambling. So Rohirrim Door Warden is going to make bearer strength +1 for each possession they bear, which at the moment includes just the horn. But then each of these stable masters are going to make Gambling considered mounted, and each one grants that +1 strength. So that is putting him now at a casual 11 strength. We have What Are They being played, spotting a ranger, that is Aragorn, to discard the biggest minion on the field, who's roaming right now at Site 2. And let's see, then we have Bitter Hatred coming out on the side of Inolan, being used to try and get some wounds on Galadriel. Galadriel, of course, Lady Redeemed being infamous for her ability to strip the support area of any useful cards. In this case, also utilizing Nenya. At the start of each group phase, you may discard up to 2 cards from hand to draw the same number of cards. And then, now that it is the regroup phase, all of those followers, of course, get transferred to the support area, ready to be reused next turn. Or next site, I should say. All in all, the concept of a follower, especially the idea that you must pay for them constantly, that it's effectively an upkeep cost, I think does make them more fair in a lot of cases than allies. However, because of some of their degenerate interactions, I think that it has led to putting a bit of a bad taste in people's mouth. Because of those interactions, and the fact that Decipher never really printed any follower hate cards. So if there's a bunch of followers in play, you are kind of up the creek with not very many options to take care of them. So Wingfoot playing Moria. Interestingly, I hadn't even looked at the deck sizes. This was an extremely slim deck. He's already down to 29 cards in deck. I didn't check to see if that was the at that bare minimum, but this is, however, going to be a very shadow heavy deck remaining, because all of these Free People's cards have already been filtered out. So including the starting fellowship, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 of the 30 Free People's cards already out of the deck, meaning that for the most part, Wingfoot is going to be drawing almost nothing but shadow. And that is the main selling point of the Horn deck, being able to filter all those cards out. If this was regular Expanded, every single Free People's card would have been pulled out, because all the followers would have been, all the Free People's followers would have been taken as well. So it's tempered a little bit, but not by much. However, it's somewhat surprising to see Moria of all shadows here, because they tend to want to play a whole lot of cards and draw and discard from your hand, and with such a slim deck, there's not going to be very many opportunities to utilize a lot of their standard tools, such as They Are Coming, which requires you to discard 3 cards, and cards are going to be at a bit of a premium here. Inolan is fending things off just fine for now. He's got a little bit more of a standard deck with, or more standard from a movie perspective, with Leader of Men opening, and Sam Great Elf Warrior, which is kind of an odd pairing, but in this case it may just be getting this particular Gandalf out because he is half cost with no other text, and then we have Aragorn Driven by Need being played just naturally. So I hadn't noticed, hadn't noticed at all at the very beginning. But this damn gate stream here says at the start of your fellowship phase, you may play a Golem Free People's card from your draw deck, and almost certainly what was played was Nasty, which is a card that is going to allow you to. Was it Nasty? Is that the name of it? No, that's not it. It's something slimy. I'm trying to keep all these names straight. Something slimy. Spot Smeagol to play a condition from your draw deck, and so they would have played that new chapter, ensuring that that particular loop was possible to pull off. So here we have Uncertain Future being played. When you play this condition, spot an elf to add 3 elven tokens here. Maneuver, discard this condition, or remove an elven token from here to reveal the top card of your draw deck. You may place that card beneath your draw deck. So even further, just using that to try and filter out the deck and make sure that good things are played. Enolan playing Gothmog again, as well as Malheur. This particular Gothmog, pretty intense in that it increases the archery totals of both sides by +3. Which is going to be good for the shadow player here, because they don't care so much if their minions get mowed down, but as those wounds build up, they're going to be causing problems. The Sanctuary here is expanding Marshland. If the total number of minions and Twilight tokens is 3 or fewer, play a minion at Twilight cost -3. Looks like they weren't quite able to get down to the point to be able to utilize that game text. All the followers during the maneuver phase being stacked up on Gambling once again, and now we have that archery fire. All 3 going on Aragorn for the Fellowship side, and then I imagine that it's going to be 1 on Malheur and 2 on Gothmog here on Shadow. No, deciding to just take out Gothmog. Interesting. So it looks like he wanted to use Malheur's ability, Assignment, exert Malheur to assign him to a non-hunter character. So trying to make sure that Galadriel gets taken out as the only elf character here on the table. If there's any particular elven cards like Uncertain Future here, they are no longer going to be accessible. Gambling's Horn being used here. Bearer must be a Rohan Manor Mary. Skirmish, discard a follower from play to make Bearer strength +4. If Bearer is gambling, you may also spot another companion to make him or her strength +4 until the regroup phase. So this is being used to discard 2 of these followers. The one that is relatively useless here, the Liberated Sight one, to get rid of Galadriel. And so this is an interesting situation that I hadn't quite noticed. Both of these are just regular possessions without the item class of Horn. And so, Gambling is perfectly legally dual wielding horns here, with no restriction on which or either that he must have. That's an interesting oversight. That is, of course, the reason why so many of these items have an item class. Here, for instance, Xenia has an item class of Ring, meaning that Galadriel would be unable to utilize a second ring. She'd be unable to bear it, and this is kind of showing why exactly those sorts of interactions are supposed to be tamped down on. But you know, that's what PC Expanded is about, right? Or Expanded in general. Even the Decipher version is kind of seeing how far players can push the cards to their limit. Gameplay now switches back over to Enolan's Free People's side. We have Bilbo Aged Ringbearer coming out, Sudden Fury, which means that every time that a Hobbit loses a skirmish, a token is going to be added for hopefully winning skirmishes later. Now we have the Old Man's Crutch coming out from V2. That makes me sweat a little bit that we released a V2 card that is apparently busted enough to be using in Expanded. Goblin Patrol Troop being used by Wingfoot 81. This is the most recent PC errata, exerting this minion or a unique Moria Orc to draw a card. I'm not quite sure what Wingfoot's... Oh, never mind. So Goblin Sneak coming out. When you play this minion, you may place a Moria Orc from your discard pile beneath your draw deck. So a very particular shadow hand is being set up for it, looks like. Let's see. Moria Scout going below the draw deck, another Goblin Sneak. Maybe it's just looking to set up a never-ending stream of goblins. Not quite sure. So far, the Moria side of this deck has not really been very bombastic. It's played a few things, and of course we are here still in Region 1, so not a whole lot of Twilight is on the table. And yet, I'm not sure what Moria is expecting to do with such a small deck left. Only 21 cards in the Wingfoot's deck, and we are already on Site 3. He's going to be decked out pretty quickly. Taking a look at Enolan's support area, we have a couple of G for Grand. While you can spot a Gandalf Wizard, a Gandalf Culture Wizard, each companion who has resistance 6 or more is strength +1. And all of these cards, of course, having the resistance stat in the lower left-hand corner. All of the resistance of every companion is reduced by the burdens that are on the table. So in this case, it looks like everyone who has 6 or more is strength +1. So at the moment, it looks like it's just Bilbo that is getting those bonuses +1 from each of G for Grand to make Bilbo strength 5 instead of 3. Then we have Trust Me As You Once Did, staple from Fellowship Block. Sudden Fury, as we mentioned. Fates Entwined. Each time a Hobbit wins a skirmish, you may heal another Hobbit once or heal another Hobbit twice if the Hobbit that won the skirmish was Frodo or Bilbo. So it looks like Sam won his skirmish, and so that's Frodo that is getting healed. Oh, it says another Hobbit, not just a Hobbit companion. So it looks like Rosie Cotton was healed up. Rosie granting her +1 bonus to Sam, and Sam being strength +1 for each Shire companion you can spot. So he, as you can see, that 11 strength. Sam is currently the pillar holding up this fellowship, beating out even Gandalf and Aragorn on either side of him. So Nolan handily defeats all of the Moria Goblins on the field. He's pretty healed up because of that healing engine that he's got going. Only 3 Twilight on the table. He does decide to reconcile. His deck is looking significantly more healthy at 42 cards. So here at the Sanctuary, it looks like Aragorn is going to be healed up, as well as Galadriel and Merry having 1 wound taken off. Possibly just to utilize. There may be another ally that he is here to pull out. But no actions being taken. So Doorway to Doom being moved to. This is has also received a PC errata. When the Fellowship moves to this site, each player wounds 2 of their characters. This site cannot be replaced. As kind of a reference to the fact that Mount Doom itself is a card that makes it so that cards in the entire region cannot be replaced. So Smeagol and Aragorn both taking a wound for the cause. Less of an issue for this larger fellowship, but the smaller fellowship here is going to feel it a little bit harder, at least until the Hobbit healing engine over here gets going. So once again, we have yet another Gothmog Mauher combination coming out. I anticipate that we're going to see an exact repeat of last turn. All of the followers being played over onto Gambling. 3 wounds from Archery going on to Gothmog to wipe him out. Mauher attempting to take out Galadriel. And we've already had 2 of the followers burned. The exact same combo is probably going to be used once again. Oh no, here we go. What are they being used to get rid of Mauher? So now the archery wounds come down, and with only 3 vitality left on Gothmog, that's enough to wipe him out. So using up that 1 event instead of 2 followers to keep Galadriel alive. Now at 6 companions, obviously there's the ever-present threat of Shotgun and Quaya. But at this point, the only ones that he'd be able to take out... Well, no, you could take out Aragorn. That would be a reasonable thing to do. Eliminate any uses of what are they. That definitely exposes a little bit of why they're moving so slowly down the site path. That what are they is going to stop being useful as soon as roaming minions are no longer an issue. So Pippin Sworn to Surface being played. While you cannot spot 4 threats, Pippin is strength +1 for each threat you can spot. No threats yet on the table for a Nolan. Wingfoot, on the other hand, has built up 6 threats, and I did not notice where they came from. So then it's doubly important for him to make sure that none of his companions fall. I imagine that once the first one does, the ending will be quite swift. We'll have to see what is being cooked up. 16 cards left in the deck on Wingfoot's side. Only on site 4. Nolan drawing some cards with Goblin Patrol Troop. And the standard Moria cards being used here to pull things out of the discard pile, but there's only so many more of those resources to be had. The Goblin Runner here showing off the 2023 World Championship promo version of this card. Although this is the generic version that is not branded for the World Championship, so Wingfoot must have gotten it from a prize pack from engaging with other competitive matches. Okay, so we have Goblin Sneak coming out, Host of Moria being used not just for the ability to play Moria cards from the discard, but also being utilized for Goblin Patrol Troop's ability. Now we do have a bit of a swarm coming out. Golem Darkest Darkness joining the fray. Lost to the Goblins. A Lost to the Goblins bomb. Interesting. So here we go. Wingfoot is burning all of his deck. 4 copies of Lost to the Goblin being used, all triggering off of a single exertion from Golem Darkest Darkness. Is it enough? Doesn't look like it. 2 burdens away from corrupting Frodo, and that's that. Wasn't able to filter out the exact perfect deck. There were still a few Free People's cards mingled into that particular bomb, and so as Lost to the Goblins was played, it was not able to produce the perfect 12 burdens that could have potentially been done if all 4 copies each discarded 3 shadow cards, or 3 Moria cards specifically. 3 Moria minions specifically. But yeah, Wingfoot concedes, having acknowledged that his particular attempt did not work. So let's go take a look at some of these other decks. So we have a solo Smeagol deck. Well, so I say solo in quotes here, with a Gandalf and a Horde next to him. We have a Gollum Shelob deck on Chadwick's side versus Basmelis. This looks like there's a lot going on. Okay, let's see if we can track this. So Basmelis down here on the bottom has the Faramir alternate ring bearer with Aragorn, Thorongil, and Eowyn, Lady of Ithilien. We have quite a few things set up on Faramir here. Immune, of course, to Grima and any of those other big possession hate cards. Harry Goatleaf from V1. Make the Free People's player assign a companion with 5 strength or more to skirmish this minion. So that's going to 4. Well, actually, that changes almost nothing because all of the companions on the table meet that threshold. So that is probably going to be Eowyn? No? Okay, forces Faramir. Yeah, Eowyn is going to want to go up against Shelob. And then, no, I don't know. Shelob is enduring. Yeah, here we are. So we have Thorongil going up against Shelob. We have Faramir up against Harry Goatleaf. And then Gollum is left unassigned. Meaning that Basmelis is going to let Chadwick figure out where it's going to go. Gollum ends up going on Faramir. We have the Thorongil versus Shelob fight coming up first. Oh wait, no, was Oh, Shelob must have been used against Eowyn, because this is her ladyship who is able to paralyze a companion and make them unable to be assigned to a skirmish. So that must have happened to Lady of Ithilien. And so now we have Faramir up against Harry Goatleaf and Gollum. Strength of 10, able to take on the strength of 8 pretty handily, but Old Villain's ability being used to discard a card from hand to make Gollum strength +2 because he is currently skirmishing a ring-bound companion. So that's enough to win the skirmish, keep Harry and Gollum on the table, and then Shelob is fierce, and having lost a skirmish to Aragorn, comes back with that enduring, making her strength +2 for the wound that she received. Meaning that Aragorn now takes his lumps. Web being used to pull both Gollum and Shelob back off the field. They're going to scuttle away and return again next turn. And with her ladyship on that web, that definitely threatens to completely paralyze the entire fellowship if they were to continue moving. So they wisely hold off. So, taking a look at Chadwick's fellowship, looks like we have a Faramir, Captain of Ithilien. We have an Aragorn Strider, just like in the other game. We have Smeagol, Always Helps, and Sam, Resolute Halfling. Looks like Sam's ability being used to discard a card from hand to heal Sam. This has been used recently a lot just to filter through your deck to get through cards that you don't need right in this moment. Looking up at the support area, we have Scouring for the Shire, which is a protection card. Looks like 3... Oh no, it hasn't been used at all. Sorry, this one works in reverse. Each time a Shire condition or Shire possession is about to be discarded from play by a shadow card, you may add, or you add a Shire token there to prevent that. And that once that happens 4 times, or 3 times, then you discard that particular card from play. Scouring was much more potent before. The PC errata has made it unique, and I believe reduced the total number of uses from 4 to 3, making it much less potent of a protection option when you have 4 of them on the table, like you can in regular expanded. We have Aladdin is Mind. Each time you lose initiative, you may spot 2 Shire companions to remove a burden. We don't have Shire Countryside out, it seems, which is the common pairing with that, but that has also received an errata in PC formats. Basmel is playing the Mouth of Sauron, Messenger of Mordor. Maneuver, exert the Mouth of Sauron to play a Evil Man condition or Evil Man possession from your draw deck, and then Pavis being played on him to give him +2 Vitality. So now we're going to have the Mouth of Sauron exerted 3 times. Wait a minute. Okay, hang on. So Pursuing Horde was played as a condition. Bearer must be a companion except the ring bearer. Each time the fellowship moves, add 1. And each of these is being stripped off, however, by Gladden Homestead. When you play this, add a Smeagol token here for each Smeagol card you can spot. Maneuver, discard this from play, or remove 2 tokens from here to spot a shadow condition and place that condition on top of its owner's draw deck. So it looks like the tokens were burned from there to get those shadow conditions off of companions and thrown back onto the top of the deck. And then Follow Smeagol being utilized to play the Fellowship's next site, choosing the expanded version of Bridge of Khazad Dûm, which simply says the Balrog's Twilight cost -3 does not allow you to pull it from the draw deck like the Fellowship block version can. Let's see. So a number of things getting set up here on Chadwick's Fellowship. Didn't even manage to get through all of them, but the turn has already moved over to Basmelis. Looking in his shadow or his support area, we have Leowyn as an ally. If you have initiative, discard 2 cards from hand to heal a Rohan man, which can of course be used to make sure that Eowyn is in fighting shape. Hardy Garrison to play spot 2 Gondor men. Each time you lose initiative, you may wound a minion. And then Namerie, when you play this, add a Elven token here for each hunter you can spot. And so there was 1 hunter on the table, that being a Thorongil. So 1 token was added. Maneuver, discard this condition or remove a token from here and discard a card from hand to discard a condition. So you can use this to wipe out things on important cards from the support area. However, as Chadwick is running Ninja Golem. We basically have just Web here on the in the Shadow support area right now as a possession, and so immune to that removal. And then did it all as a follower. 8 cost of 3 Twilight. Each time you transfer this to a companion, you have to exert them unless they are an Elven companion, and it makes Bearer an Archer. So if 1 Vitality would make all the difference, then that can be used to pull that out. Okay, let's see here. What got used? So Web was used. Looks like rather than pulling Shelob out, the Twilight was used instead on Ugluk, Ugly Fellow. He's Hunter 3, and so he will be Strength +3 unless he is put up against Thorongil here, who is also a Hunter, which will cancel that out. At the start of each skirmish involving Ugluk, each non-Hunter skirmishing Ugluk must exert. So this really just kind of emphasizes you don't want to put him on a non-Hunter character. So it seems like Thorongil is almost certainly going to be the one that goes up against him. And then we have Wormtongue. Exert Grima and spot an unbound companion bearing 3 or more cards to return each Free People's card that companion bears to its owner's hand. So we may be seeing here, we have all these things: the armor, the citadel, Aragorn's bow, Ranger's cloak, and Ithilien blade. I think we're about to see all of that returned to Basmelis' hand, which is not what he wants to see, but that is, of course, exactly why Grima exists, to make it painful at times like this. Unless there is some sort of combination that can be used to wipe out Grima's vitality here during the maneuver phase. It's the start of maneuver phase. Basmelis is thinking, maybe searching through his cards, trying to see if he's got anything. So we have archery effects, skirmish effects. If Grima was roaming, which he is not, then Ithilien blade could be used to wound a roaming minion twice, but he's got it at site number 3. They're already here on site 5. I know it seems a little bit odd with Bridge of Khazad-dûm, normally site 5, but here it is at site 6 instead. And do we have any other maneuver actions? We have that Denadal being pulled out, another Ithilien blade, another skirmish action, and then Athelas. So unfortunately, it looks like there's not going to be all that many options available. Unless there's something in his hand, of course. Maneuver is able to discard, this maneuver action is able to discard conditions, but nothing to take out that Grima. Oh, here we go. Something from hand. What do we have? No travelers in this land. Exert a Gondor man to wound a minion, or wound that minion twice if it is a hunter. Deciding to go up against Ugluk, I guess it just wasn't enough to take out Grima's vitality, and so here Grima goes, returning all of those cards to hand, which now means that Basmelis is stuck at 9 cards in hand. He's going to have to discard 1 during reconciliation. And that will mean that he draws no cards. That is, of course, one of the major reasons why Grima is so powerful, not just because of the ability to take those tanky characters and throw all of their cards back into hand, but getting them off the table. It's the fact that they are now crammed into hand, and now 4 of those 9 cards are cards that Basmelis really wanted on Aragorn, and so now he's really going to have to choose: does he reconcile them away, or does he hold on to them until his Fellowship side has another chance to put them back on the table, which is, of course, going to be an injection of Twilight, which you really want to be careful about, lest it be enough for Shelob to be jumping back out. But then more than that, that also ensures that the Shadow side of Basmelis is going to struggle, because that's going to be a huge number of Fellowship cards in the hand. Grima really hurting the Fellowship, of course, but also it even helps the Fellowship side for the person that he has played for, and that really is one of the things that makes him a bit overtuned for the things that he was built for. Grima's introduction to the game permanently altered the meta, making it so that it was absolutely difficult to justify having a tank during Towers and even King Era while it was still fresh. Here in Expanded, even if you try to get away with it, it can come back to burn you. So Faramir taking out Grima handily, now that he had less of his vitality. Thorongil being used up against Gollum. Now Gollum does have that ability to discard cards from hand, just being used in this case to cycle as opposed to actually win the skirmish. And then Ugluk going up against Eowyn. The ability kicking in at the start of each skirmish involving Ugluk. Each non-hunter skirmishing Ugluk must exert. And so Eowyn now deciding to just take another hit instead of utilize her ability, which quite likely could have gotten her killed. Ugluk then going up against Aragorn because he's a hunter. The exertion clause is not triggered. However, it was just enough strength that without all of his tools, Aragorn was less strength than he needed to be. Faramir's Bow coming out on Faramir. We have Elendo's Armor coming out, and Deagle, Faithful Finder, as a follower. As a side note, Elendo's Army is one of the reasons why followers leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. The mechanics of the follower concept, I think, are superior to allies, if I'm being honest. However, they decide then to turn around and have concepts such as this. An entire army, apparently. Elendo's army from the Second Age, apparently being worth +2 strength. In other words, the exact same amount of benefit that you get as a sword. That does seem just a little bit off to me. But then again, I guess we can't rag on it too hard. This is a set 18 card, so it came from the Twilight days of Decipher when there was just a single designer left. Now, Tentacles being played on Basmelis' side. No marsh in sight. Those tentacles coming out and just being discarded immediately. Basmelis just trying to cycle out his hand, being clogged with all those Free People's cards, and now, in fact, having revealed that this is a tentacle-based deck, or at least has tentacles in it, and it absolutely did not like getting clogged like that. But now play has returned over to Basmelis, and now we're going to see all those cards that Grima had previously juggled back into his hand replayed, as they were so important. Losing initiative even to get all the way down to 3 cards in hand, but no minions on the table to take advantage of there. Leywyn being used already to discard 2 cards from hand to give Eowyn 1 more vitality. Things are looking pretty grim here. Not quite enough Twilight, just barely not enough Twilight. In fact, if we recall, there were 4 cards that were played on Aragorn, but only 3 were played, because had there been 8, then 8 would have been enough for that Shelob to be played. But so we do have Evil Smelling Fens coming out, and Gollum is used to pull Grima back. Grima saying, "Hey, you have a license for those swords." What did I just get done telling you? All those cards once again juggled right back into Basmelis' hand. Another copy of Mauher being played. This isn't looking good. We have a replay here of this last turn, but there's even less vitality on the field. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is not Ugluk. This is Mauher exerting himself to go up against Eowyn, making sure that Eowyn is not assigned to one of these people that already have 2 wounds on them, which would have been more useful for the for Eowyn's ability here. We tried to limit this with an errata by making it only once per turn, but to be honest, I think that had almost no effect on her effectiveness. We've got another errata in the chamber, but it's likely that it's not going to see the light of day until later this year after the World Championship, because it relies on mechanics that are being introduced with V3, which is not yet released. Nobody dying just yet on the Free People side, although quite a few burdens going down on Faramir here. He's only 1 away from dying, and then Mauher, being fierce, ends up going up against the Exhausted Fellowship, and then threats come out, and that is enough to knock him out. Basmelis calls GG to Chadwick. Great game. All right, let's see. Who else is still standing? Was that the last game? That was the last game. All right. So let's go take a look at the current standings here. So Enolan, Balrog 69, Stefan 77, Mozdref, and Chadwick all won their games. Sandro, Basmelis, Distali, Wingfoot, and Quincy going into the bottom half. We shall see how this goes. So we still have 10 people. Looks like nobody has dropped as of yet. Very good. And so that means that we're still going to, because we still have an even number of players, everybody is going to be still paired up nicely with no buys. It's always nice to see. Mark, I see you connected.
I'm so sorry. I was so late.
It's all good. You did miss a couple of good games, but yeah, I'm glad to see you here. This is Mock, everybody. He's the one running the World Championship this year.
In theory, handing off more and more of it to you during the last 2 months here, but I thought as of today everything was back to normal, and it turns out my partner had to fly home on a moment's notice, and so I'm watching the kids, hence the lateness.
I see.
And probably can't be here for the afternoon match because they're not going to hold up in front of the TV that long.
Gotcha.
But I am very happy to have been able to make at least a little bit of this. Really was trying to get here earlier, but apparently donuts were required this morning.
So the matches that we have this round are Sandra 96 versus Quincy Jones, husband and wife of Balrog 69 versus Distali. We have Wingfoot 81 versus Basmelis, Chadwick versus Enolan, and Stefan 77 versus Mozdref. We already know the decks that are going to be seen here for Chadwick versus Enolan, so I'm going to skip that one this time. How about we can check out Balrog and Distali's game. So Balrog running the rather famous In the Bloom of Health Hobbits with Ents, meaning that the starting fellowship here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 companions all on the table all at once. However, combining this with Smeagol, Bearer of Great Secrets, who is going to be discarding, or actually killing, rather, an unbound companion each time they move. Gandalf Wise Guide coming out and rounding out the fellowship at 9. And that Damned Gate Stream being used to pull, once again, something slimy. And then it looks like there's another way being used, or being played right at the very beginning. I'm actually not sure which one of these was pulled from that particular card. Nice Fish says heal a Ringback Companion for each token, which builds up each time Smeagol wins a skirmish. And there's another way being used to replace the Fellowship's current site. So I'm not sure which of those was important enough to pull at the very beginning. The V2 Balrog coming out, Lieutenant of Morgul, or Morgoth, I should say. Looks like for the moment it's just going to be handing out a bunch of wounds. Ents, of course, very famously putting a whole lot of Twilight on the table. Now, none of these had to be paid for. You can see these massive costs in the upper left-hand corner not being utilized at all because they were all free during the opening, because each of these hobbits here in the Bloom of Health adds 1 to the number of Ents you can spot, and then you can spot those 2, so that's essentially a 4 discount to each of these, because each of these Ents say Twilight costs us -1 for each Ent and unbound hobbit you can spot. So Quick Beam then comes out for free, and then Skin Bark ends up coming out for just 1, I believe. And then it just kind of cascades down to getting free Ents.
Yeah, the Horde is then free, or the Host is then free, and then the Horde is free.
Yeah.
Last time, she's going to run out of companions before Site 9, though.
Yeah, that's Smeagol.
What is the trick here with Smeagol to...
I think the idea is to just have this impenetrable wall of Ents while Smeagol gets set up, because that is one of the weaknesses of Solo Smeagol, is getting his support area in place and getting all the cards that he needs. So maybe this is all just here to buy time for Smeagol to get properly set up.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, and actually, I think Smeagol did set up this Falls of Raros. When the Fellowship moves to this site in Region 2, the Free People's player places a card from the dead pile out of play, so buying himself an additional slot. And actually, so there's another way coming out and Fall of Smeagol in play. It's possible that the idea is to have multiple plays of Falls of Raros to get well beyond the rule of 9.
Recycling your interesting. I don't play Expanded, so I have no idea if this is a standard deck or if this is absolutely novel, but it's fun to watch.
I know that I've seen those pieces before, Solo Smeagol and the Ent deck, but not quite seen them mixed like this myself. So we have Lost in the Woods coming out, a very famous combo from the Shadows era. Transfer this condition from your support area to a companion. Your Nazgul is skirmishing. Each Ring Wraith minion skirmishing bearer is strength +1 for each forest site you can spot. And so the idea being that you try to fill up the entire adventure path with forest. At the moment, there's only the one here on Hill of Sight. We saw just a moment ago while we were talking that this particular site was replaced. And looks like, yeah, it was Nelia itself. Exert Nelia to replace the Fellowship's current site with a site from your invention deck, I believe. And so this was pulled out to give us the forest, and we'll start to see more and more of those coming out. Moving this way, played spot a Nazgul and reveal a Nazgul from hand to place the revealed card beneath your draw deck and draw a card. So those Nazgul can be recycled for later. Ring of Asperity. When you play this artifact, you may wound an unwounded minion, and then Black Flail from set 8.
No extra ability here, but +3 strength is always worth 2 points.
Look at moving this way, getting activated. Was that 3 or 4 times? Another. All of these Nazgul in hand. She keeps drawing them. And so she keeps sticking them on the bottom of her deck.
Just stacking the bottom. It's a big deck. I don't think she's going to get to the bottom for some kind of swarm at the end, but...
Yeah, well...
You never know.
81 cards is pretty hefty. Right on the opposite end, well, not quite extremely opposite. You could, of course, have a self-mill deck that could easily go up to 200 cards. But definitely a heftier side versus the extremely lean 60-card deck that we saw from Wingfoot earlier, who was going for a Lost to the Goblins bomb that did not go off.
And it works. There's not really anything you can do about it. But
yeah. So Grimbjorn here from the expanded Middle-earth set, bearing his Bjorning Axe. So he's got the unique ability to shapeshift, and this is represented as discarding a minion from hand to make Grimbjorn strength +X, where X is the strength of the minion that you discard. And then Bjorning Axe, powerful enough that we had to step in and errata it. The errated version says, while bearers Grimbjorn, each time he wins a skirmish, you may take a Gandalf event into hand from your discard pile, limit once per turn. I believe the original version has no limit, and it was any Gandalf card, not just an event. So it was absolutely busted. Now it's only moderately busted.
It does seem very good. Was there a particular combo that was allowing him to full heal at the end of the turn, so he was just always massive?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Lost in the Woods getting spread around here. We have one now on this copy of Arwen, who is strength +3 when skirmishing a fierce minion, and another copy on Grimbjorn. So as those start to come out, and as more and more forests come out, and we see now that Fangor and Glade got replaced, so we once again have more forests on the side path 2 now. So each Nazgul going up against one of these two characters is going to get that free +2 strength, and that will start to compound more and more. We may start to see near the end a +7 strength. So we have another copy of There's Another Way coming out, which is once again going to be able to replace the Fellowship's current site. So let's see. They moved to Falls of Raros. Which one got removed?
Mary.
Pippin, looks like. No, wait. Pippin was the one that was killed, placed into the...
Yeah, Mary Bloom of Health is what was removed from the game.
So Pippin got killed, got killed by Smeagol's text, and then Mary was removed from the dead pile via Falls of Raros. And here we go. Yeah, we have a copy of There's Another Way being used to replace it with Osgiliath Reclaimed.
And then Falls of Raros is the next one.
And then Falls of Raros is the next one. So looks like a nice little combo being set up. And moving again, I completely missed what happened. Did nothing get played at all on Distali's side? Because if so, it looks like that's a free... free companion cycle here. They are getting set up with that 2024 WC They Are Coming promo. Cave Troll of Moria coming out. Goblin Patrol Troop drawing a couple more cards. From Deepest Dungeon coming out, this is from V2. Each time the Fellowship moves, you may reveal the Balrog from your hand to add a threat. And then during the Shadow phase, you can remove X threats to play the Balrog from your discard pile. Its Twilight cost is -X. Balrog's not so much of a problem so long as these big walls of Ents are here, but as soon as those get eaten up by Smeagol, he may have a bit of a problem. So Nasty coming out, making him strength +1 for each Golem card you can spot. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easily keeping him out of harm's way there. Naked Waste being used. You may remove from the game 4 of the cards in your discard pile to play this event from your discard pile, then remove this from the game. Spots Smeagol to make a Ringbound Companion strength +3. So it looks like Balrog is pushing to get Smeagol big enough to
win this fight.
Knock him out, yeah. And then Clever Hobbits.
There you go.
Discard any number of Golem conditions. For each condition discarded, makes Smeagol strength +3 and damage +1.
Discarding Secret Paths.
So nice fish.
Which had made the move of them at +1.
And where's not listening? That was, here we go. If Smeagol wins a skirmish, heal him and remove 2 burdens. And he did have a couple of burdens on there, I think.
Yeah, there was at least 3. There was 4 at one point. I missed how one of them was removed.
Yeah, Smeagol's definitely got enough burden removal cards that there's all sorts of places it could have come from. Follow Smeagol being used, interestingly, to put down Woody End. Maybe that's just a taunt.
The forest.
Because it's not going to be it's not going to actually be arrived at, right? She's going to end up juggling that same combo, and replace it with Falls of Raros at one point.
Right, putting it out there for an extra forest. Maybe she's stopping.
Oh, actually, yeah,
she
yeah.
Restart her.
Yeah, so that never mind. Yeah, so that's going to benefit the Nazgul side, of course. I forgot that she was playing both sides of that. So we've seen this Ent deck start to get cut down to, you know, all the fat has been trimmed, and now all that's left are companions that it would hurt to lose. I'm interested to see which companions are going to be played again. The Ent part made perfect sense starting up, so is she going to be dropping a copy of Radagast, or I don't know. So Kentea Faster Than Wind's coming out, removing 2 threats and spotting another, I guess it's not Ring Wraith, it's Wraith because it was rebranded for Shadows. Another Wraith minion to discard a possession. Bjorning Axe being, of course, the perfect target here. There are 2 threats on the table. So all she needs is another Nazgul, and there's none. All those Nazguls that she juggled onto the bottom of her deck.
They're all on the bottom.
They're all on the bottom. Forearmed being used to make sure that Kentea does not survive.
And removing one of those threats.
Now the Stallion moves forward. 26 Twilight on the table. Being able to use Falls of Raros himself, but I don't believe that anybody had died. No, Forest Guardian. Forest Guardian must have been burned at one point for Safe in the Fire. Yeah. So he's taking advantage of that himself. Wanting to catch up to make sure that Smeagol doesn't get too far ahead, and so he can take advantage himself of Falls of Raros. The generic Black Rider coming out, strength +1 for each companion you can spot, which is very nice up against these large fellowships. And then the Witch King, Captain of the 9 Riders, Fierce, Toil 2, and Muster, meaning that, oh my goodness, but looks like Sauron was revealed off the top of the deck. Yeah, that was probably prepared. Getting completely wiped out.
Does love Elven telepathy.
Yeah.
It's a second Sauron discarded to make Grimborn so big.
Yeah, I missed which.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Bellarog was discarded to make Grimborn that big. Oh, we've got some more Ents coming out. Ones I don't know. Also cheaper, and well, you can spot for other Ents, strength +4. So understandable why it's not one of the starting ones, I suppose.
Yep. And then here comes Shepherd of the Trees, giving him that bonus. Well, you can spot 4 Ents. This companion strength +3. Exert this companion to reveal the bottom card of your deck. If it is a Gandalf character, you may play it. But I believe that that's already at the limit. That we're back to the rule of 9 being back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Bottom cards
7,
are
8,
definitely
9.
all Nazgul as well. I don't think I've seen any free people cycling. Only those ring wraiths.
So Gladden Homestead being played, putting a bunch of tokens on itself. You can discard this from play or remove 2 tokens from here during the maneuver phase to spot a shadow condition and place that condition on top of its owner's draw deck. So that'll be used to get rid of one of these lovely cards down here.
They didn't juggle the Falls of Rhoros, so maybe this is the last of the companion sets.
And it makes sense. These are pretty beefy with those bonuses. However, an Ent was burned, and so Leaflock lost his bonus. Shepherd still works because it's 4 Ents and not necessarily 4 other Ents. And then Gladden Homestead being used to clog all those cards onto the top of Destali's deck, who he's now going to draw into. We have the Demon of Might, the full art from set 19, coming out. Damage +2 and Fierce. And while at an underground site, which they are not, there's a bunch of benefits.
That's marked as a set 19 Bellarog, but is that not the one from Towers?
No,
reprinted?
Yeah, no. This is a PC full art. So set 19 is the, but yeah, it's from set 19. Let's see. Yeah, the one from Towers is.
Damage +2 and can't be assigned to small companions.
Yeah,
I never see it played, so probably just forgetting.
Right. Well, because it did kind of suck, right? The like damage +3 is great, but a single armor is enough to completely nullify it. So yeah, that's this one, I believe. Terror, Flame, and Shadow.
You are correct.
So yeah.
Oh, that one was damage +2 and Fierce.
Yeah.
Okay. I had
set 19 really had to crank him up to make him playable, but it definitely worked.
Commenting on the game is so much harder when you don't know the cards.
That's why I've spent a lot of my time here just reading them, because that's usually enough to go off of. Okay, so Gandalf getting burned by Smeagol's ability. Falls of Rhoros not being used anymore. The angle coming out. So how many forests do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There are forests smattering at the moment. The Lost in the Woods were all discarded.
Oh, so there were. I completely missed that.
Yeah, he played Grown Suddenly Tall the same turn. He saved from the fire to flood his fellowship.
Gotcha. Nasty coming out to keep Smeagol from being overwhelmed, but it doesn't look like. Oh, never mind. Yeah, we have that one card again.
If Smeagol wins, he can do all kinds of response shenanigans. I don't see a reason on the board to have Smeagol fight and lose instead of one of the Ents, because they're going to die anyway as they keep moving.
So not listening, removing burdens, removing wounds, and then Nice Fish building up so that ideally well, heal the Ringbound Companion for each token here. Okay, so he's gonna basically each token is going to turn into a removed wound from Smeagol. So you want to get that up to 3 or 4 and then use it at a time when things are looking dire.
Yeah, if you never need it, it can easily be discarded from Nasty Hobbits. Get that strength boost at Site 9.
Yep. So Balrog has made it all the way to Site 7. Looks like She skipped right past the sanctuary. Didn't even need it. And has placed...
Smeagol's the only one worth healing, right?
Exactly, yeah. Everyone else is liable to get killed.
And they take a few wounds and then get discarded by Smeagol's text.
And here comes Radagast the Brown coming out with the PC errata. That means that if he gets killed, the move limit bonus will be immediately lost. And each time the Fellowship moves, each opponent may discard 2 cards from hand to draw 2 cards on every move, not just a regroup move.
Now, which they also mean that Destali can run straight to 9 here.
Let's see.
As long as Radagast stays alive.
So that could have been 1, 2, 3. You get to 8. Is there another move limit that I'm missing?
He's at 6, right?
So, he just moved to 6, so he was on 5. So
just moved to 6. Oh my goodness.
So 1, 2, and then 3 with Radagast.
Okay, no, fully ignore me. Any strategy comment I make on Expanded, clearly, just ignore.
It is a lot harder to track with the fact that there's no numbers here.
On the sides.
There's no gray ones to look for the Sanctuary. I kind of want to look into drawing the numbers on here and manually replacing the template with a gray one, but that would require a bit of work and a lot of work for a format that I don't know that it's worth supporting.
Not see all that much play.
So Dark Horseman coming out. This was one of the early ones that we errated. Used to be that Notea would just name a race and Free Peoples just straight up could not assign anyone of that race, and now they can be assigned, but they have to add a burden to do so. So Shadow playing a Nazgul to draw a card. So each of these 3 each got to replace themselves, and then with more than 6 companions on the table, 2 cards can be discarded from hand to draw a card. So quite a few of these coming out. Ring of Terror, which is from set 17. When you play this artifact, you may remove 2 threats to take a Ringwraith card in the hand from your discard pile. Response of a player, and yeah, that just juggles it back. Captain of the Nine Riders coming out. We have a lot of big Nazgul, but unfortunately, no Lost in the Woods. With all of these forests in play, 1, 2.
Yeah, 3 of them getting removed
5.
at once was big, I think, for Destali. I don't know if Expanded has a way of recurring those outside of like Morgul Skulker to shuffle them back in.
Well, even this one right here, when you play this artifact, you could remove 2 threats to take 1 into hand. So it looks like there are recursion options, but I don't think there were any threats for it to utilize.
Oh, Glorfindel's been removing those pretty handily.
So Gandalf, Manager of Wizards, has been used just now to stack the hand, and of course that's got to be a Sauron that is now sitting on top, ready to be used during one of these Elven situations. Yep, 4-armed coming out, making the Witch King 0. Happening again here for Toldea. What was the errata we gave?
I missed a recursion. I think that's the 4th 4-armed we've seen. Is he pulling them back, or is he getting lucky?
I think he's just got a lot of very big minions. The Balrog, the Sauron, he had Cave Troll, so a few of the things. So the errata that we put here on 4-armed, if that minion is now 4 strength or less, discard the revealed card, and I don't think that it's really made all that big of a difference. If we look at Destali's discard pile here.
Oh yeah, he's running lots of
heavy hitters. Sauron, Cave Troll, Goblin Patrol Troop. Not all as good as Sauron, but they at least get burned each time he does that.
I was talking about the card 4-armed itself, that I believe he's now played 4 of.
Oh, I see.
But I could be missing a recursion, because there's only 3 in the discard pile.
Another Gladden Homestead coming out, stacking up with a whole bunch of tokens now that there are way more Golem cards here. 2 copies of Poor Wretch. Nice fish now being used to heal Smeagol up. Mount Doom coming out, just making sure that there aren't any surprises that are going to happen. But then wait, so that Site 9, Balrog has decided what it's going to be. No more than 1 minion can be assigned to each skirmish.
It leaves Smeagol in some pretty good shape.
Yeah, Smeagol's looking pretty invincible
Sauron
here.
and a Balrog.
Even then, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, like
get Host of Moria as big as he can. Smeagol would have to get to an 11 to survive that, and then Sauron, who is fierce, potentially giving an extra hit there.
And 24 strength, meaning that's quite a bit that Smeagol has to be pumped up just to survive. Got to more than double his strength up to 13 just to not get overwhelmed.
He needs to get to 11 to survive the Host of Moria.
Yeah.
Sauron then eats Leaflock. And then he needs to be a 13 to survive Sauron. He can get a boost from the ring. Neither of them are hunters, so that makes them strength -3, makes Smeagol strength +3.
Makes Smeagol strength +3. So that's a base 9 effectively. Oh, interesting. Smeagol going up against Sauron first. That doesn't make much sense to me.
No. Unless he's got a
way of discarding him.
Discarding Sauron when he survives.
And I'm sure that there is a Smeagol card that lets you do that. I just don't see it here on the table yet. Naked Waste coming out once more. I think that's the third one she's played this game. And then Clever Hobbits. Discard any number of conditions. Discarding all of them.
Plus
35 in strength +7. Who's the Lord of the Rings? Tell me, who's the Lord of the Ring?
It's more precious to one of you than me.
Well, I guess Sauron just did not have enough.
To
didn't have enough greed there to take his own ring back. All right, let's see. Looks like many of these other games have finished. There's only one left. Oh, it looks like, unfortunately, Sandra versus Quincy. One of them must have timed out. So the game that's left here is Stefan77 versus Mozdref. What do we have going on down here? Chasm's Edge. Golem has strength +1 for each ringbound companion you can spot. We have, so this is definitely a Ninja Golem setup with all of these cards. It's so tiny that I can't barely see what's going on. Let's get all these anything goes over here. Everyone knows, rather. Okay, let's see. So we have a web, we have a fat one wants it, we have slippery as fishes, promise keeping, not this time, exert Golem and remove a threat to wound a companion. Golem is skirmishing. Not easily avoided, remove 3 to take a Golem card in hand from your draw deck, then randomly discard a card from your hand. Skirmish, discard a Golem card from hand to make a minion strength +2. They stole it. 2 copies of that Chasm's Edge that I was looking at earlier, and then incited. Each time a companion loses a skirmish, you may exert Golem to take a Golem card in hand from your discard pile. And then we have that Saruman follower, the only shadow follower that was ever made. Each time bear wins a skirmish, you may exert a companion, but then of course the +2 strength. But Aragorn's bow coming out on Elisar Tel'Kantar being used to snipe that Golem down. So
that does not require him to discard the bow. So do followers? I thought they went back to your support area.
They
afterwards.
do.
Is that not true if the minion dies?
Yeah, so if the minion dies, then that gets overridden by the fact that you discard all cards that are on a dying character. So that is a good way of getting rid of followers. Okay, lots more cards coming out here. We have Halfling Leaf, the set 17 and 18 Pipeweed, which are conditions rather than possessions. Discard a Pipeweed from play to cancel a skirmish involving an unbound hobbit. I was never quite a fan of those. They really got rid of the need to have a pipe, right? discard a Pipeweed from play to remove a threat during regroup, or discard a Pipeweed from play to discard a minion. And then we have Prize
Those seem
Lagan.
really good.
Yeah. Prize Lagan, at the start of each turn, you may add 2 to heal a Shire Companion. Maneuver, add a threat to spot a minion. That minion loses Fierce and cannot gain Fierce until the regroup phase. Any Shadow player may remove 2 to prevent this. I don't quite remember what the original version of that was. This was brought up as a card that was crazy that needed brought down. So there was no prevention clause, so you just add a threat to make them lose Fierce constantly. So the non-full art version of Demon of Might coming out from set 19, we have Frediger Bolger all set up nicely here. Looks like those copies of Everyone Knows being used, plus Escape and End Draft to really pump them up. And then we have Mary in the Bloom of Health over here at strength 17 using the same concept.
A lot of these matches, from the little bit that I've seen here, don't seem to be worried about Grima at all. Is he not the same kind of threat in Expanded?
Well, so you didn't see this, but there was a match between Distali and... Or wait, were you here for that? Distali versus... Or not Distali. Sorry.
I joined just before the beginning of this round.
Okay.
It was first late, and then I had a technical problem.
Right, I just can't remember what it was. Chadwick versus Bismillah was that first round. That actually involved a an Aragorn that had 4 cards on him. Grima came out and totally punished Bismillah for it. Put all the cards back in hand, and then the very next round, Evil Spilling Fens was used to pull him back out again after Bismillah played all the cards. So twice in a row, bam, bam, Grima was used to.
Oh, really, that's a brutal hand log.
Yeah. So like, it's definitely a threat, but it's one of those things where Grima is no longer like tippy top of the power curve, right? There's so many other ridiculously powerful cards you could include, so it really is just a gamble on whether or not he's going to be making his entrance.
Pip not doing a lot against Fatty. I'm thrilled has a companion and Expanded. Always seemed like a miss in Fellowship Block.
Well, I mean, it made sense though, because in Fellowship Block, like this is a Weta card, as it shows. This was from a photo shoot that some people from Decipher did in 2004, where they flew out to New Zealand and took a bunch of photos of various things and costumes and such, and so they literally didn't have an image for a.
Oh, interesting.
Now the V2 card, Ancient Evil, being used to stack that Balrog. Now, why did Mary die?
To play your unique minion back.
What did I miss? Because Mary was only 5 strength. Is there something that prevented him from getting overwhelmed?
Is this skirmish canceled? One of those pipeweed conditions?
No, because the Balrog won, and so he got stacked. Well, I can't pretend to understand everything that might be going on here. So play switches over to Stefan77, who builds up his characters even more, breaking that 3-card limit. So if Grima does get played, it's definitely going to punish. Interestingly, both sides having pipes and pipeweed, although in this case it's using the more traditional Aragorn's pipe to heal companions.
Looking back through the logs, I think Mary was actually quite a bit larger during the fight. It's the Everyone Knows.
Gotcha.
So he was bigger before he took those 3 wounds.
Okay.
There's 2 of them in play, so he would have been 11 to survive the overwhelm.
Makes sense. So her ladyship coming out and paralyzing Aragorn, so he's not going to be able to be assigned. And then we have Gollum Mad Thing. To assign Gollum to a skirmish, the Free People's player must make Gollum strength +3 until the regroup phase or add a burden. Now, I don't believe... Oh, here it is. I was going to say, I don't believe the Golem is fierce, but here comes Hidden Even from her, which does in fact make him fierce. So this Golem could end up getting pretty stacked. He's beefier than Shelob right now, but Aragorn, if he can't, yeah, if he can't participate in the skirmish, then I guess gotta use him somehow. So that Golem is obliterated. 2 regular archery fire going on to Shelob, which pumps her up enough to win any skirmish here, looks like. Promise Keeping coming out. Each time a companion is skirmishing, a Golem minion takes a wound. Exert a companion. And this was errated by the PC. This was another one that used to just be each time a companion takes a wound, exert a companion. And so when threats would come out, this would really just cascade. But now it's strictly limited to a companion skirmishing a Golem minion, and so threats are not quite as big of an issue. I say all that, but
less of a bomb, but I think it's still really strong.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
yeah,
I don't. It wasn't dumpstered, but that errata, letting Golem do his thing, especially wounding Golem, because discard 6 cards from your hand, and that's 2 wounds.
That's still quite a bit for sure. But it did tamp down on the threat cascade that would just absolutely obliterate a fellowship. Although looking at all this, I think that those 4 wounds on Aragorn was probably well worth Golem getting killed. I don't know that Golem would have done more damage than that. Let's see, is that Site 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 copies of Mount Doom being out. The second Mount Doom, of course. The slightly smaller one that is behind the real one that everyone's aware of. The tourist attraction. So Mosdraff is going to move on to Site 9. There was another Halfling Leaf played. Mary completely exhausted, though. Definitely not up for fending off the Balrog twice like he did a moment ago. Ancient Evil, not enough to... Well, actually, no. I guess... The Balrog could come out, but yeah, I'm not sure that it would... Oh wait, is this underground? It is underground. Skip the maneuver phase, the archery phase, and the Balrog cannot be assigned to skirmish minions of strength 6 or less. And Mary is 6 or less right now, and Mount Doom is underground.
So is Frodo.
Oh, yeah. So that actually, yeah, that wouldn't be to your benefit. Fredegar Bolger would get pounded into the dirt, but that doesn't help you win the game.
Frodo would be too small for the Balrog to notice, as long as he doesn't put on the ring.
I played a game of Expanded once that was Balrog focused that was very heavily... Oh, he conceded. Nothing but the Balrog able to be played, and as we just noted, the Balrog unable to win the game for him. But like I was saying, I played a match once where I put together a deck that was Balrog based, and I went up against a guy in a Horn deck, and the guy specifically did not play anything on all of his companions, including the followers, specifically to keep them all below that 6 level. And so by the time I finally got to play a Balrog, I realized I couldn't actually hit anybody. It was pretty devastating.
I'm unable to fight. Yep, he's huge, and he's fierce and damage +2 is amazing. I think only Sauron has that in movie block. But if you can't assign him, it's not a whole lot for him to be doing there.
So Balrog, Mosdraff, and Chadwick winning their games. I believe that someone else must have won their games over here, but I can't remember who was who. So sorry if I haven't called you out. But one of these other people won. And then looks like we had 3 people on the bottom mirroring the 3 people on top. So Balrog, Mosdraff, and Chadwick fighting for first place. We've already seen... Actually, we've seen all 3 of these because we watched Chadwick versus Basmelis in the first round. We just watched Mosdraff beat Stefan 77, and then Balrog 69. Of course, we watched her beat up to Stali. All right, so these games have just begun. Now that one person has dropped, looks like Quincy Jones got the bye. So we are looking at Stali versus Sandro, Enolan versus Stefan 77, Balrog 69 versus Mosdraff, and Wingfoot versus Chadwick. Why don't we watch this Balrog versus Mosdraff game? We didn't quite get
definitely the one that's going to put us... Winner of this is the only undefeated player.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that they take it. There is a fourth round if I've counted the total players correctly. But it does make them the people to watch.
Oh, interesting. So we didn't get to see how the other match started, but it looks like so that particular fellowship had been pared down to just those 3 companions, but it looks like they had started with the exact same opening that Balrog here has. So it's a mirror match of Ent versus Ent. However, the difference being that this is a Shire-based deck on Mozdref's side, and Balrog's side is using the those Ents as fodder to burn Smeagol. As we saw in the other match, if Balrog has her way, then Smeagol is going to be utilized over and over to use his tricks to replace the Falls of Raros, so that various characters that get burned by Smeagol's ability here that requires that unbound characters be placed in the dead pile. Falls of Raros will allow those dead companions to be removed. Fishing Boat and Entdraft coming out. I don't think that we even saw Entdraft last time, or Fishing Boat, come to think of it.
I don't think so either.
As big as Shelob here with 8 vitality. And then 2 copies of There's Another Way. Both of these are going to be important here when juggling the juggling those falls. And once again, Gandalf getting played on the very first turn. Just good draw luck, I think. Unless there was some method that I missed for getting a Wizard's Never Lead. Farmer Maggot is going to be the first casualty to Smeagol's alternate ring bearer text. Oh, but slag mounds each time a companion is killed, add a burden. So that's interesting. Oh, and then Valiant but Foolish getting played, so we get to see one of these flood insurance cards that were released in set V2 that are intended to counter someone just playing a whole ton of cards and then barreling down the side path at the very beginning. Valiant but Foolish being the version that allows you to spot 18 Twilight tokens and remove 6 to take up to 4 shadow conditions in the hand from your draw deck. If in region 1, this action can be performed from your draw deck. So he didn't even need to have it in his hand, just although it looks like it was, just through sheer coincidence. But
he goes for cheap enough conditions. You could potentially play a second flood insurance card here, but did not.
Yeah. Deceit, Web, Fat
Ninja
One
Golem in particular
definitely wants to have his specific cards out. And so Deceit here, if the Free People's player is about to discard your other Golem condition, remove 2 to prevent that.
Oh, fetched 4 conditions and only played 2.
Did he fetch 4? Did I? Let's see here.
Or, I mean, it allows him to fetch up to 4.
Were any pulled? Because look at the size of his hand. He's got 3 cards in hand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Valiant but Foolish was played.
2, 6, take up to 4 conditions.
I don't think he took anything into hand.
Okay.
It wasn't bugged, was it? That would be awful if it didn't actually work.
That would be awful.
I have tested in place. I thought that was supposed to be ironclad, but
well, and I've used Valiant but Foolish in movie block games. Though I haven't been playing all that much in the last few weeks with the move, so maybe a bug's been introduced.
It would have to be pretty subtle if that was the case.
Yeah, we should ask Rogers at the end. See what was going on. Maybe he simply chose not to.
Maybe he's just so excited to actually use it, and then he looked at the options and was like, I don't need any of these.
Right.
So Fat One wants it, ensuring that a threat is added every time that Golem crawls off those webs. We had Osgiliath Reclaimed being played, and not Falls of Raros yet, to remove burdens. Oh, Clever Hobbit's being used offensively. Now, that is one of the nice things about it.
Wreck mode here.
Yeah, Discard any number of Golem conditions. It does not specify Free People's conditions. For each condition discarded, makes Beagle strength +3 and damage +1. And so that one, once it was saved, because Deceit was errated to only protect other conditions, but Deceit itself was removed. And yeah, that is...
was running at least a few of those. That was several times last week.
Absolutely.
That's going to be huge in this game.
Yeah, I think that's going to make the difference. Ninja Golem here is not gonna be able to build up.
I won't stop possession stuff for things like web.
Yeah, so web is safe.
Enough with that. Was web the only possession that was running last game?
Possibly. I'm not even sure that there even are all that many other possessions.
Yeah, there's Spider, Dynamo, and
oh, you're right. Yeah, you got kind of quiet. I don't know if you moved away from your mic or something.
Is it any better?
Nope.
In the room by a shout out. Losing the audio. Okay, maybe I just need to go on mute and stop talking while I'm all the way.
Yeah, it looks like it's just Larder, Web, and Spider Poison. Alright, Lost from the Woods coming out. Now, I don't know that Mozdrev has any tools to discard Lost from the Woods like like Balrog's opponent did last round. So this may begin to build up, although at the moment there are no forests on the table. So it may not matter. Prize of the gun being used.
Got shenanigans for the site path on both sides, so
yeah,
force a matter of time, not a question of if.
Right. So Koi doesn't have, let's see, I think you want to, so he takes out the Ent as the obvious one, but I think that as we saw last game, Frediger Bolger himself can be really pumped up. This would have been a great opportunity to knock that out, but I think that perhaps it hasn't occurred to Balrog yet. That there's only the one copy of Everyone Knows here, but as soon as there's 4 of those, with those Ent drafts.
Well, and Frediger doesn't have 4 Vitality natively, so until Ent draft and Escape, doesn't benefit from Everyone Knows.
It's true.
Everybody knows?
Everyone knows, yeah. So Lost to the Woods being used on Ent Horde. Not doing any good now, but setting it up for later.
These just transfer for free as long as you're skirmishing. I'm curious why we're seeing them played before they're useful. Are they more secure on the companion than they would be in the support area? Feels like an unnecessary risk to do that change before you need the benefit.
Yeah, that's a fair observation. I'm not sure. And it's kind of interesting here on this particular deck because we know that the Shire side is going to be what all the cards are really built around building up. However, the Ents are no slouches themselves. So if the Shire side was to get countered, the Ents could step up and vice versa. So
yeah, that definitely feels true.
I think it's really just a matter of picking and choosing which one might possibly be more of a thorn in the side of Nazgul in particular.
Yeah, our Chadwick Wingfoot game has already finished.
So Fell Voice is called being used to pull out the Witch King's beast, Fell Creature, on the Witch King. So this is going to allow the Witch King to engage in 3 skirmishes instead of just 2. However, okay, Prize Lagan is going to be used to eliminate one of those. What is it doing? Adding a threat. Okay, so each of those, so that's 3 threats being added to remove Fierce from all of these. So in reality, unfortunately, the Witch King's only going to get 2 skirmishes instead of 3.
He's still going to go a pretty long way here. He's not damage plus, but he'll get his victories against those Ents. We are a Sanctuary, so maybe short-lived.
So both times Taldea has been used, the Exertion has been opted for, going on Frodo. The Witch King's Beast is a concept that I've wished that there was more of, and that is one of the things we're going to be introducing with V3, is we're going to have a few more effects just like this that will allow for additional skirmishes beyond Fierce.
Was there any agreement? I pitched it and then kind of bounced from the thread, but about making that a keyword rather than 4 lines of text every time?
Yep. Yeah, relentless is the keyword that we're going to use, I think.
Okay, nice.
And so if a character is relentless, then you have an additional skirmish after Fierce. But and we haven't really hammered out all the rules specifically for it, but I'm thinking that it's going to be something completely separate from Fierce. So just like that situation that we just saw, where Fierce was removed, and so that relentless skirmish happened. It didn't override it and make them participate in the Fierce skirmish as well, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Probably a topic for non-commentary time, but we may want to take a look at the small handful of cards that remove Fierce if we're gonna have it be fully separate.
Right.
Make sure that those aren't getting already weak cards fully bypassed by new effects.
So Promise Keeping coming out on the table. We have Hidden Even from Her making Golem Fierce. So there could be yet another, what was it, Trixie Hobbitses that could take those off the table. No Deceit to protect them this time.
Depending on how big Golem gets, it may be worth holding on to a Trixie Hobbit until there's a bit more on the field, just to be able to nuke it in one go.
Yeah, a lot of the same considerations that you have
far enough down the site path.
Yeah, with Sleep Per Address, you don't want to burn it too early. Let's see. So we must have
right. Well, and especially here where everyone not Smeagol doesn't really matter in the long term for the deck, can let him really build up those conditions and cause some damage against the Ents, and then wipe them all out before the end.
And I think ideally, Balrog's going to want to use that in a situation where the strength actually is needed. And here we go. Yeah, or no, that one was nasty.
Just a nasty, but it does also trigger off of the shadow conditions here.
Yeah, so Smeagol is going to be even more impenetrable. Absolutely able to exert barrier to make him or her damage +1. So using that extra vitality, just gonna one-shot Golem and make sure that he doesn't crawl back onto that web. I kind of wonder why she didn't do that on the first skirmish rather than the second.
She did on the first one. Golem would have been only an 8 and just overwhelmed, wouldn't have needed the exertions.
Okay, North on Deep coming out. The minion archer total is -3. That seems like it's just a piece that is used to counter certain deck types. Not really useful here. I noticed that unlike last round, she's not stacking up those forests on the table. So maybe that's why Lost to the Woods was put over, just kind of as it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be bothering this round.
Maybe. Yeah, she doesn't have the... it doesn't have Follow Smeagol to be able to do the constant change around.
Yeah.
There's another way, lets her change out the current site, but Follow Smeagol is what allows you to set the next one. So maybe the combo just didn't come together in time. It is a Region 2 effect.
Yeah, that's true. If you don't get it during Region 2, then you don't get it at all. So Shelob, Her Ladyship was pulled from Not Easily Avoided, and then Not Easily Avoided discarded the Shelob that she pulled. Oh, that Mozdrev pulled, I mean. That's some rotten luck. So Not Easily Avoided was used again to pull Slippery as Fishes, and then Halfling Leaf was randomly discarded. That's absolutely that's awful. But I guess that's really what the designer was thinking of with that you had that risk of losing the card that you went for. Now, quite a few wounds stacking up here on Smeagol, but he's still got 3 vitality, even with all that there. 8 is absolutely monstrous to see on your ring bear here.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's still 6, though. The fishing boat and the end draw are discarded. Which is a thing that you absolutely need to be careful of.
Yeah. I don't know that Gollum has any access to any sort of... Yeah, I don't know that Gollum has any access to possession discard, but I'm sure that there's a way of getting rid of that draft.
Yeah, that's fair, because the draft's a condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to mouse over them. I don't need to ask you. Yeah, it's one of those things that always seems so risky. I worry about putting in, an Unduriel on Aragorn and letting him get exhausted for exactly this. I would be very nervous about it on my ring bearer.
More drafts coming out. Are they limit 1 per bear? They are. Yeah.
They are, yeah. But those Ents are everywhere right now. Getting some sizable hobbits. Only 1 copy of Everyone Knows on the table, though.
Kentea adding a threat for each companion over 4. There's now 6 threats on the table.
Discard possessions, but...
Yeah, there's Sting to get rid of.
Sword is maybe the only one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wait, what was that?
What happened there?
If you can spot 2 of the Nazgûl, you may exert 2 unbound companions, or exert each companion if you can spot 6 companions. Okay, so Nquea coming out. Nquea always gets the most busted.
I know.
Game text. And honestly, I sort of understand why. Because once you have 2 or 3 good Nquea, then you have the question of, okay, do we add a good Toldea, or do we... Because if we do that, then you can have the good Nquea and the good Toldea. And so you almost can't spread it around. You got to keep the good ones on Nquea, or otherwise, you see them all on the table at the same time.
I do appreciate that, Nquea tends to be themed towards 6 companions.
Mm-hmm.
But in the naming scheme, is Nquea 4th of the 9?
Well, it says 6th of the 9 here, and I think that might actually be...
Oh, is that literally the name of this Nquea? Yeah, so probably the 6th of the 9. Just trying to think of who was bigger. Toldea and Atea are both larger than Nquea is. I do wonder sometimes how well thought through those were at the beginning, and how well, how much that was just kind of making cards in Fellowship Block, and that's how it turned out, so that's how they had to stick with it.
No, hang on, that's not what I wanted. I wanted... Yeah, Atea, Nelia, Kentea, Lamenia, and Nquea. So Nquea would be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Yep, so they didn't mess that up. That was correct. And while I was being pedantic and looking that up, I completely missed all the skirmishes. But it looks like we had a couple dead Ents.
Yeah, some Ents leaving the table, though I think that is by design in this deck. Last time we saw, there was no Ents left on the field when we tuned in.
Yeah, and all the support area cards here. Yeah, exactly. So we got those drafts out. That's all that really they were needed for, that and being a wall, which is exactly what they're being used for over here. Cyrano Ruins coming out, not the Fall of Raros. Gladden Homestead spotting all of the opponent's cards here to add a bajillion tokens. All of these cards here are about to get stacked on top of Mozdref's deck. This is going to be devastating.
Well, only wants to do it if she's not gonna double. You'd love to clog the free people's hand if you can pull it off.
So Sudden Strike was used to play Gollum or to play a minion from your draw deck, but Gandalf Wise Guide was used to cancel that. So we still have not yet seen Shelob. This has been kind of an unlucky setup for Mazdrav. Tried to draw Shelob, got it discarded by the same card that drew it. Slippery as fishes, not this time. Chasm's Edge. Remove a threat, yeah. And there's only the one threat, yeah. They stole it. Spot Golem and discard 3 cards from hand to wound a companion. Golem is skirmishing once or twice if that companion is Shire. I think we're about to see a... Oh, here comes the clever hobbits. We don't need to put them on the top. We can just absolutely obliterate them.
Let's nuke the field.
30 strength and damage +8. Yeah, I'm afraid that this is probably... This is Mazdrev's nightmare matchup, I think. Like, all those cards that are... that are totally built to work against both Golem and Smeagol, which is a great thematic element, right? That I think that of all the things that Decipher did, one of the best that they did in this game was the Golem and Smeagol dynamic. And here it's really shining, and here it's Mazdrev begging for mercy in chat because he's about to have a ninja Golem with just Golem, no ninja, and it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, that's it's designed as an interaction. I do feel like sometimes it maybe should have had a limit. Nasty Hobbits in general, not necessarily the Smeagol versus Golem effects.
So that one in particular is actually one of the cards that is going to be errated in V3. We have an effect ready for it that is going to... Basically, you will still get to spot as many of those as you want, but then you discard any of yours that you spotted and hinder any of the ones of your opponent that you spotted. So it would still allow him to get it to that 30, but it would not wipe the board like this.
The field. Yeah. Well, and it hasn't been meta for a good long time, but when Ninja Golem was meta, Nasty Hobbits was also often run without Smeagol. Just
as an offensive tool. Yeah.
Counter.
It's something that comes up from time to time. Balrog in chat saying Smeagol told Gollum to go away and never come back. And, yes. And I think that's going to be prophetic. Gollum is not going to be coming back from this. Well, quite a few Nazguls still coming out. Moving this way, I think, being used to cycle through ones that. Yeah, Mazda saying he slapped himself with 30 strength. Yeah, what does that represent? Punching himself in the face and shaking his own brain so hard that Gollum got lost. Yeah. Prize Lagan once again being used to turn that Twilight into no fierce Nazgul, which makes them pretty sad. Now, there's only hobbits on the table, so Nutia here is going to have to add a burden. I guess that's not
he's
much.
Worried about burdens.
Yeah,
right now.
12 resistance Frodo. There's nothing there on the nothing built up. There's quite a few wounds around.
Yeah, he might struggle here. Three Nazgul and enough wounds on the hobbits that they're not
crazy.
Safe.
Yeah.
Fatty won't be overwhelmed by Nertia, but
He's
still
already
die.
Exhausted. Yeah.
Is there a cancel on the field? There is. Halfling Leaf and a couple of Old Toby. So potentially these are going to be canceled skirmishes.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that Frodo is risking entirely that putting on the ring will make him a 5.
If there's any other effects. And there is in fact a forest on the site path now, so if there was a single Lost in the Woods.
Yeah, or I mean, at least on paper Nazgul have skirmish events.
Yeah.
I don't know that you ever see them outside of PC with Twilight, but
And in a deck this big that Balrog is running, I don't think that events are something that she can really afford to hold on to unless they are game changing. Which, you know, like the Smeagol wins that she's been dominating the board with. All 5 of those Sanctuary healings going on Smeagol.
Wizards and trees don't need to rest.
Trees have spent an awful long time resting.
Maybe they just can't recover in such a short break at a Sanctuary. All right, getting a few of those items back out. Promise Keeping.
Oh, well, this is actually
Chasm
pretty
Edge.
good for him. Promise Keeping, Chasm's Edge. Oh, but there it goes. Balrog says, I told you, never come back. And there's enough tokens on Gladden Homestead that she's going to be able to do it again next round. Like, this is... Oh, man. And that's even worse for Mostref, because now he's going to draw all those cards and not potentially get something else that could swing things in his favor.
Oh, yeah. I was fully expecting Balrog to do it last turn, so that his Shadow, or his Fellowship hand was 8 Golem conditions. You know, just absolutely stuck with nothing else.
To be honest, I like this even better. Like, it's just kicking him while he's down.
Did say never come back.
Nasty getting him to a mere 19 strength.
Yeah.
There's just...
Come on, Smeagol. Do better than that.
Is that all you got?
Oh, going for all the damage plus.
Why?
I don't.
19 already already overwhelms. It's just flexing at this point. And honestly, it could be hubris. you know, something could come together on these last couple sites. I'm not sure that
I was in truth hoping that Smeagol would put on the ring to show that, you know, I can beat you because I have the ring and you don't. I don't think it would have been a good play knowing that Nasty was in hand, but, you know, if you're flexing on yourself.
Moving to site 8, those forests coming out. Well, no, not moving. Never mind. That was a use of Follow Smeagol.
No, but getting it set up.
Yep, and just getting those forests on the table so that hopefully, if Lost to the Woods does show up, that could make or break things.
And there's only a couple, but these are still, I guess, Nazgul-themed cards. So they're not only there as a forest. Whether everyone knows. All right, I think these hobbits are about as set as they can be. Everybody has a sword and trot and some escape.
Yep, there's just one more copy of Everyone Knows in there somewhere. 14 strength Pippin. Spits on the Witch King. Four copies of not quite a useless condition, but a condition that does not help you to have multiple.
Yeah, you only need the one.
Now, interestingly, Lamenya, by adding these threats, has ensured that Prize the Gun cannot be used more than once. Because there's 3 threats on the table and only 4 companions, meaning that it can be used once. So Atia is now prevented from being fierce, but he's got the... Oh, well, no, the Witch King's Beast only works on the Witch King for that extra...
Yeah, for the discard.
Pippin clowning on a Nazgul.
Now,
asking him why he even bothered to show up.
Discarded without a pipe to cancel Teo's 1 skirmish.
Yep. And there's still quite a few pipeweeds on the table to be able to utilize that. So that's 4 more skirmishes that can be canceled.
Oh, the card that lets you discard Pipeweed is also itself a Pipeweed. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, all the late Pipeweeds that they did are like that, where they're all Pipeweeds and they just have you discard a Pipeweed, and so they can discard themselves or the other ones. It's yeah.
So I mean, I absolutely adore Pipeweed. I play it probably half my games or more, but I don't like these cards.
Yeah, I mean they I guess they didn't.
They don't feel in theme.
Yeah. When you don't have the pipes, you can just slap them down as as we've seen here, just as Shire support cards. So all those
the existence of pipes or the necessity of pipes from the early ones really struggle in movie block because of Grima.
Yeah.
Both Grimas really mess with pipes. Saruman joining Golem in his quest to retake the ring.
His quite possibly useless quest, given how beaten into the ground he has been. These 3 cards here that were played here were all, I believe, stacked on top of the deck by Gladden Homestead, and off they're going to go again.
Could go straight back. Nope. Skipped maneuver. Didn't bother.
Balrog's being nice. Nope. Balrog's going to discard them. Please, he's already dead. Oh man. The Saruman doesn't even get to stick around. It's just, man, Mazrev can't catch a break. This is his absolute worst matchup.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when you talk about matchups that have hard counters, this is it. Yeah, back to only having one possible. Oh no, sorry, I was correct. I just said it before I saw the animation. One minion can be assigned to each skirmish, which isn't going to make a difference here. I think Mothra.
There's only going to be one minion, and it's going to get beaten to a paste yet again. Yep.
I'd love it if a random single Balrog showed up that he was running just in case he went against... Oh wait, is there a Bridge of Khazad-dûm in Expanded?
Yeah, although all it does is make the Balrog Twilight cost -3. It doesn't let you tutor him.
Oh, you don't tutor it? Okay.
And actually, because... Well, no, this particular Smeagol is 7. It's just not updating because it's inactive at the moment. So never mind, I guess that a... Well, no, even that wouldn't work because they would just play another Clever Hobbits and discard her own conditions and...
Oh yeah, it wouldn't win. It would just be an enjoyable twist at the end. I'm really interested, once this is all said and done, to take a look at Balrog's deck. She is running so many Nazgul that she's cycling with these moving this way to get the other cards she cares about more.
Mm-hmm. Mazrev moving a second time. I'm not sure what the goal there is. I guess there's only 8 companions in the field. I guess there could be a Radagast somewhere, but I mean, it was a free move. Balrog didn't play anything, but it didn't.
Smeagol getting bigger and bigger. Smeagol's left alone.
Completely exhausted, which is, in theory, it puts victory in reach, I think.
Oh, he says it's an honorable run, so I finish on 8.
Oh, I see.
It looks better.
I had to make it look better than it actually was. Yeah, that's understandable.
Your opponent beats you at site 9 if you're still sitting on 7. I mean, at least from our perspective, it looks like it's a very obvious, loss for him anyway. I can understand that, wanting to get closer to that end condition.
And with the fact that Smeagol is exhausted, with the right mistakes, it's still possible for Mazrev to win. So here we have Treacherous Little Toad coming out, While you can spot a Golem character
Balrog.
or a Golem card in your support area, bearer cannot heal. Okay. Now, because this particular ring can be added during the skirmish phase, all Golem has to do is survive to regroup and exert twice to wound the ring bearer. There is a line here. Actually, well, I mean, it's not realistic because Balrog is about to punch him into the dirt, right?
Right.
Overwhelm, there it goes. But if Gollum had somehow survived to the regroup phase, and then just
showing off.
just flexing at this point. But if Gollum had survived to the regroup phase, that is actually a victory condition there. So it was possible.
That's true.
Now he's removing burdens to add Twilight. I don't know why, but Naked Waste being used again on Balrog's side. Yeah, at this point they're just clowning on each other. This is.
Yep. They both got a few minutes on the clock, so nobody's worried about kind of running out here.
Oh no! Don't do it, Balrog.
Oh, she could really mess up. If she gets rid of that fishing boat, she loses. Okay. No, was paying attention to it.
56 damage plus 10. Monster F trying to show off. See, I can do abilities too. I've got 22 Twilight. What are you gonna do? And that's it.
Yep.
53 strength. Damage plus 10 Smeagol. Not listening. Not listening at all to anything Gollum has to say. Leave now and never come back. What a great game.
If that's not the name of her deck, I think she should change it.
All right, let's see. So
really good.
Looks like the final game, final round here is gonna. We're probably gonna follow Balrog versus Chadwick. It looks like that's going to be the winner take all. Yeah, and then everyone else has done well competing in the game, but that's gonna be the one that we're gonna watch. I'm gonna step away for just a moment. Well, I'll wait for it to come up and then I'll pull it up and then I'm gonna step away for just a moment. But may as well wait for that. For the game to show up. Should be in the next 5 seconds or so.
Yeah, I had pulled up Twitch, hoping to see if anybody was commenting.
I don't see any comments, but that's just fine. All right, here's the Balrog versus Chadwick game. I'm going to step away for a moment and be right back.
All right. So I haven't watched Chadwick play yet. I'm not certain what's being run here. So Rangers. With the Fellowship. Balrog's doing what she always does with these. Got the whole wall out. I'm just learning what Chadwick's cards do. Enjoy some of the new rings that are seeing here and expanded. All right. Lighten his mind, deal with the few burdens that can be added by the Nazgul that she's running. There's another way. That Smeagol is more than just dressing. It's good to know. You can do some working with popping around those sites as well, which could be a problem from Balrog. The Shards of Arsenal and a Shadow Play. Okay, so combined with Samurai's Loot Halfling and Always Helps, this could this looks like a wounding deck of some variety. Aragorn is just cheap. And Faramir here. Let's put another wounded companion with resistance and exert him to heal that companion. Alright, it's going to help get everybody else back up to speed after they've exerted 4 wounding effects. Second shadow play, letting Sam potentially exert twice for those early wounds. Pippin will be really useful here only at site 2 against the Nazgul, unless there is some mechanic to increase their home site. Coming out maybe alone. Unheated to finish off that Lamenya. Yeah, finish off Lamenya. Alright, so Pippin's going to bounce back to get Tildea out of there and be pretty well set up. Shadow plays are once per turn, though, not once per site, so they can't be used again if Chadwick chooses to double to the Sanctuary. This version of Smeagol, I'm curious what skirmish wounding effects are going to be in play. Is it just paths, or are we running the spot with Frodo to Adabert and wound somebody skirmishing a Frodo signet? It's both Sam, Smeagol, Frodo are all appropriately signeted for that. Balrog getting Smeagol set up quicker than last time with the poor wretches. And a Golden Homestead to bounce some of the shadow conditions that Chadwick hasn't seen a shadow yet, may or may not have.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. We've got, I don't know if you've seen Chadwick play already, but we've got a, looks like Maneuver Wound deck with, it always helps Smeagol, so presumably there's some skirmish wounding as well. We watched them use some Unheateds and some Shadow Play to get rid of Lamenya and wound Tildea, I believe, and then Pippin bounced back to his hand to finish Tildea off. But Nazgul are no longer roaming at Site 3, so Pippin might be less useful going forward.
Right.
We've got the Mumat Commander. Is this the one that you've made the full art for today's events?
Yep, that's absolutely right.
So coming into play, he exerts twice to exert a companion twice. Just does a lot of damage. And then he's still a strong skirmisher.
And of course he's a great pairing with Pavis, which gives him +2 vitality, which is enough to utilize his ability a second time. Yeah.
Pavis is a shield?
Yes. It's like a full body shield. Oh, come on, did I spell it wrong? Yep.
Alright. Okay, so yeah, so it's a big shield. And it looks like it's just a generic one. I wasn't failing to remember some important shield from the book.
Nope.
That does seem really good, though, especially in combination with guys that exert themselves.
Yeah, it gets used in just about every busted Evil Men combo. They all, especially the ones that involve intentionally discarding it to kill the person they're attached to so they can replay them, and all sorts of nonsense and shenanigans.
Interesting. Yeah, it only works with the redone faction, though, so Castamere and the like can't utilize it.
Nope.
So Aragorn's got a newer version of the bow, and a threat to wound a minion with the lowest strength. Interesting one there. Haven't seen threat removal yet, but with Smeagol, there must be a way, because his ability also relies on adding more threats.
Of course, there's the tried and true way of removing threats.
Sure thing. I imagine we're going to see Pippin show back up, even if it's only to trigger those threats.
Yeah. It does put him at
He is
6
still
companions.
worthwhile for shadow plays.
And this is a Nazgul deck, so there's plenty of Inquayas rolling around. Now, interestingly,
Yeah.
Anduril... What is he doing? Each time you lose initiative, you may spot 2 Shire companions. Oh my goodness. That offends me. Oh man.
Yeah.
So Aragorn juggles Anduril a few times. And
is it reforged? Man. Is it not reforged? Reforged, still broken. Reforged, still broken.
Yep.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, this whole round of cards, the cycle of cards that says that for the Free People's player made losing initiative a good thing. Initiative was already kind of a busted concept, but these right here really made them degenerate, I think. It's just not good.
Well, Lightened Mind and the Elf one, Glimpse of Fate, were ridiculously good. The Gondor one wounded, but you had to juggle it in weird phases.
Yeah, so that's definitely more reasonable that you'd have to do the juggling at a time that's not where you don't have a bunch of fellowship abilities. Yeah,
like you can do it. You can kind of putz around with like, well, what if you've got the red book out and you're using maneuver tales from Gondor and Elves? Like, there's stuff that you could do with it, but it's not nearly as abusable. The dwarf one was just trash, if I remember correctly. It let you like play a condition from your hand.
Yeah, which is like, who cares? Like, if I wanted to play that condition, I would have played it normally. Like,
yeah, like maybe I add a couple Twilight in a different phase, but it was so far off from the others.
Yeah.
So we've got Nelia on the field, swapping sites around potentially again. They're both site swapping. Bit Smeagol. Say that 3 times fast. So hard to tell how everything's going to end up going.
So drawing 3 cards without Sia. Are currently sitting at 15 cards in hand. And moving this way to put all the Nazgul in hand on the bottom of the deck.
Yep.
Trying to replace the Fellowship's current site, but unfortunately you're sitting at the errata Doorway to Doom. This site cannot be replaced.
Oh no.
And then threats being added by the Ranger's Longbow.
Oh, what's the Sting do? Oh, Sting's removing threats. Yep.
Yep. Then Mount Doom coming down.
Frodo will shunt those wounds over to Sam. Sam will heal up by discarding cards, potentially losing initiative to get rid of the burden.
Now, this is actually one of the first times I think that we'll have seen at a competitive event the ruling for Mount Doom coming into play. The Rules Council ruled a while ago that Mount Doom is going to work in a way that has it go into effect the moment that it is put onto the site path. There was kind of a long-standing community tradition of having this work in a way that only went into effect once a player stood on it. But now that Smeagol has put this down, that is going to put the kibosh on any sort of Falls of Rauros play that Balrog may be looking to do. Which, she doesn't necessarily need it. We saw last game, I think, she didn't even bother. But that does cut her off from the ability to do that at all.
Well, if she stays ahead, because this cannot be replaced, right? So if she stays in front, she can continue to play a Falls of Rauros at both Site 5 and 6 if she's running 2 of them in her site deck.
She can't do that. Your adventure deck can only have 1 copy. You can't have multiple copies of the same site in your adventure deck.
For some reason, I thought you were allowed 2 copies of a single one.
Nope. You'll often see 2 copies because if both players
they get shuffled.
Well, no. If both players come with the same site, then you might see them on the adventure path. But that's one from player A and one from player B, not from the same player.
Gotcha. So I haven't played with these sites since set 11 when they first came out, and almost immediately went back to playing Kitchen Table Movie Block. So I'm just misremembering. It's been a few years there since Shadows was released.
It's actually a little more restricted than that, even, because you're not allowed to have more than, I want to say, 3 of each shadow number as well. So you can't just have an adventure deck full of 3 Twilight cards. You have to actually mix it up.
Are they just 0 through 3?
0 through 3, and then there's a single card, Suriname Dam or Suriname River, that's 4 with no other text.
Okay.
But yeah, most of them are in that 0 to 3 range.
Yeah, that does. I'm just thinking back through the other blocks. Like, there's a lot of Site 4s that don't have a minimum of 3 shadow in the first 3 sets. So the way that they ended up kind of converting those over doesn't always line up with the previous sets, which is interesting.
I think I actually did the math, because you have to consider the fact that you add 3 Twilight when you're in Region 2 and 6 Twilight when you're in Region 3. If you're doing the math, and so if you go back and you take all the previous blocks worth of sites and subtract the region number, Fellowship tends to be smaller than average, but other than that, most of them do pretty much fall in that 0 to 4 range. So it's it was a pretty well designed system, I think, and mechanically, a lot of people that play Expanded really appreciate it. It's just that it had such a thematic hit that a lot of people got turned away from it. But on its own, it's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, I was just looking at like some Site 4s where the Fellowship block they go between 2 and 4, Towers block they go only 2 or 3, whereas an Expanded 3 would be the minimum. They go all the way up to 6 or even 7.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah.
And then Site 6, I don't think is ever more than 3 in any of the movie block site paths.
Right.
I don't think the way Expanded did it was inherently wrong in that. It just, there's a difference in kind of where you're safe and where you're not.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest miss that they did with the system was that they didn't have restrictions. Whereas there were certain sites that were powerful enough that they should have been restricted to just Sanctuaries or just Site 9 or just Site 1. And because there were no guardrails whatsoever, you end up with all kinds of busted combos, which a lot of the proponents appreciate, having the ability to come up with whatever combos possible. But
I've definitely seen a lot of people talking about liking Expanded because of the craziness and trying to figure these things out, and all the what, from my perspective, is kind of nonsense you can do. Balance is out the window. Let's just see what we can break.
Right. It becomes a puzzle.
That's a game people like.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum on that being a thing that is great for them. Just not the game I want to play.
Right.
Smeagol here, discarding a few of his own conditions to be able to take out.
Yep. Clever Hobbit's being used with much more precision than it was last game.
No mass discarding yet, at least. Keeping as much as Belrog can on the table so that they're only at Site 4.
So the single copy of Falls of Varos getting played so that one companion can be removed from the dead pile.
One companion is enough that Smeagol won't be alone at Site 9.
Now, Gandalf hasn't been played yet. She's been lucky enough, I think, all her other games that she happened to draw Gandalf in the opening hand, but that hasn't been the case this game. So we've got 2 floating slots. One from only playing 8 companions, and one from now having removed one of those dead companions.
Yeah, unless she goes down and moves with 0 other companions at some point, though. discarding 8 companions over 8 moves will leave Smeagol alone without that Falls of Rorus helping recycle somebody through.
Yep.
Trying to think if there's any other ways to remove somebody from your dead pile without putting somebody else back in.
Not currently, I don't believe. There's actually a couple of V3 cards that are
playing with that. Ekelbrand from V2 let you...
Oh, Erkenbrand, yes. Erkenbrand does in fact let you
recycle a few.
But he... They
have to be generic riders, though.
Right. And so it's somewhat more limited. Yeah, restricted to non-unique Rohan companions.
Yeah, the other ones I can think of, Born Far Away and Sent Back don't actually reduce your dead pile size. They just
swap it,
change up who can be played. Yeah.
Community Living pulling out a follower.
Is that Daddy 2-Foot?
Yes, it is.
Just has a very strange looking shadow icon. I thought for a moment my foil settings were wrong, but
nope. Yeah, the followers are all marked with yellow to remind you that you're supposed to take them out, because they use the fact that they use the character layout here. The title is not going to show up along the left edge, and so I guess that would have been a reminder.
Oh,
but so when it's
makes sense.
Yeah, so when it's sticking out, you can at a glance tell which ones you need to take out during the regroup phase.
Yep, no, that is clever. Balrog Shadow not getting the same stopping power against Chadwick as it had against her last 2 matches.
Right.
The more I see her play it, the more I think her Shadow may just be there to enable Smeagol.
Really? Yeah, I think that's
hard draw and lost in the cycling that she's doing with moving this way. I wonder if her Shadow is kind of an enabler rather than a stopper, and we just happen to see it doing well.
Right. It happens to dovetail with the Lost in the Woods and the forests and such. But I think that this is absolutely a solo Smeagol deck that just has all these other bits stapled onto it to help it get along. Captain the Night Rider is coming out and using that toil ability. Toil meaning that you can exert other characters of the same culture to make it cheaper. And then the Witch King's Beast coming out.
A few different decks we've seen playing Nazgul, and this is the only Witch King we've seen. I don't in any way think it's bad. Doesn't strike me like some of these other cards is far and above though.
He's not very exciting, right? Like he's cheaper than normal. He gives you the ability to cycle, but like he does nothing during skirmishes, right?
Yeah.
The Witch King's Beast does help with that, but oh, wait a minute. What was that?
What just happened? We removed a burden, and then that somehow caused a wound?
Mind your own affairs. Spot Frodo and add a burden to wound a minion skirmishing a companion who has the Frodo segment. Was he exhausted?
Oh, okay. He was.
From archery? Got it.
Yeah, I had posited early on that he was probably running that, but I could not think of the name. And then it flared up so quickly that I didn't notice it getting played. I just noticed the lighting the mind trigger.
That classic shadow play unheated combo being used to knock another Nazgul off the table. Not even letting them get anywhere.
Yeah, really strong, especially against high cost 3 vitality minion decks. Just absolutely taking people out. It's got a couple of a single bow in the field, and to go with it, plus all the healing he needs. Alright, so we've got Leaflock as our final companion here.
Not quite.
Guess we won't be seeing Gandalf this game.
Or Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because we only saw one cycled for Folivros.
Yep. Ooh,
Yeah,
Secret Path's adding +1 to the move limit.
Could be a run. Already at site 6, so yeah. Oh no, move to site 6.
Yeah, so 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, Chadwick's been nipping at her heels, staying right on top of the on top of things when it comes to catching up on the site path, not letting Smeagol get too far ahead.
Yeah, playing some of these Golem cultures conditions, though, is something Balrog is probably actually excited for. A new Grima.
Oh, Saruman's power coming out off of Grima.
That's going to be really rough.
Leave now and never come back. that's devastating. That may be game right there.
Yeah, possibly a mistake by Chadwick there. He did play 2 Golem conditions, an Evil Smelling Fens, and I think it was... I'm just going to scroll back and find it. No, not finding it. Also, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those were put down last turn and I'd missed it. I don't think I've ever seen Twilight on the field. What an interesting choice. What is the fear here in Expanded? Is there a particular ally, a single moon ally you just need to take care of?
Yeah, this is kind of an odd inclusion. There's plenty of other better Twilight Nazgul. Although maybe those are in the deck and we just haven't seen it. Chadwick's deck is also very large here.
That's true. Added burdens to discard the field. Is she doubling past the Sanctuary?
She can't. Well, I mean, she can't double.
She's in rough shape.
But she can't triple anymore because the one card was removed. However, that's quite a few shadow cards out of the hand. So
Balrog's moving again.
It's risky.
Chadwick did draw 6 new cards.
Statistically, 3 of those will be Free People's cards, so 3 shadow cards.
Yeah.
But there is an Evil Smelling
Fens on the table. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely a risk, but
this is the one you were just talking about.
Yep. Yeah, the single 4-cost card.
Yeah.
So Chadwick's just trying to generate as much Twilight as possible.
I've been getting 3 minions out here. They don't need to be big for Smeagol to be in real trouble.
Yeah. As we observed, I think that she was she's kind of in a rough spot because I think she had to move. She had to take this double regardless of what happened, because her shadow side is not really built to get stops, so she's got to get that progress somehow.
Golem that triggers off of Deagle being removed from the game. Has a Deagle been removed from the game? Must be.
No, not yet. And in fact, he doesn't even have any Deagles in his discard pile just yet. So
why is he a 7? What am I missing that's giving +2 strength?
Oh, maybe it did happen. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, there is one already removed. I was looking at the discard pile like an idiot.
Deagle's a Free People's. Okay, interesting.
Oh goodness, here comes her ladyship.
It's a pretty cool image for her ladyship.
I'm not quite satisfied with how green that one came out, but that was really just to match what they did on the Her Ladyship card itself. They made her very green. She's not that green in the movie.
Yeah, a little bit more gray.
I guess I did overdo it, especially.
Oh, so Smeagol facing off against Golem. Has the ring to survive, or a nasty.
Okay, nasty triggering off of those other cards.
Yep, Fens and Web pushing past. No overwhelm here that I see. No massive damage bonus. Oh, another nasty.
Oh.
But why?
That would do it, just to make sure that he doesn't go on Web and come back.
Oh, yeah. Web's in play. Her ladyship is going to end up on Web. I don't think there's...
Yeah, not any way to... Well, no. Smeagol's the Ring Bearer. Add 2 burns to this card each minion. That's definitely worth it, making sure that her ladyship doesn't come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely worth it.
Well, definitely way more nail-biting than it was before. But
right,
does manage to pull ahead. And this puts...
Well, and if Chadwick wants a chance to keep up, if he can force a stop at 8 and wants to be able to run to 9 with his Fellowship, he needs to double pass the Sanctuary here. He's not in bad shape, but a lot of what his deck is doing is limit once per turn with those shadow plays.
Mm-hmm.
So, might be a harder sell to do the double, past the Sanctuary, but he's got a pretty strong Fellowship right now. And Kea might cause him problems, but otherwise I think he's in good shape.
Causing a paradox over here by stacking the Shards of Narsil on the Shards of Narsil.
While Endurial's in play.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciated that in Star Wars they had a system for when 2 cards of different names were the same character under the covers, mm-hmm. that you could only... They were still unique between each other.
I think by and large, I largely prefer the system that Lord of the Rings does, which is to just give it the same title. But yeah, it does result in some issues here where the name changes and then...
Right. There's only a few cases in Lord of the Rings where it becomes a problem, but right. Shards of Narsil and Endurial is one of the handful.
And on the flip side, one of the cases where that actually really helps is the Smeagol versus Gollum, because both of those represent the same person, same persona.
Right, and you do want them both in play.
Right.
Yeah, cycling all of those Easterlings to the bottom. Not Easterlings, all of those Nazgul to the bottom. I think at this point she's really just looking to get as many Smeagol cards as she can back on the table for the...
In fact, come to think of it,
probably the final move.
I think these are the only... Okay, Fell Voice's Call is also something I've seen, and also some possessions, but I think these are the only 2 conditions in her deck that aren't like Nazgul. I think that the rest of it is Nazgul and a handful of items, and then Fell Voice's Call. Like specifically, so she can
you can make sure you've got the cards you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick Control F suggests that she's used moving this way a total of 17 times this game. She's still not fully busting through that deck. It's quite large, but
the bottom 17 cards are all Nazgul. So
right.
It's not traditional filtering, but it is definitely filtering of a sort, making sure that all the Free People's cards have a bigger chance of bubbling to the top.
I really like the idea. I do, in just kind of seeing it play, I wonder if the deck is bigger than maybe optimal for this.
Gladden Homestead being used against her to stack a couple of those cards on top of her deck, so now she's going to have to draw those cards again and replay them, defeating the purpose a little bit.
Unless he's doubling, which which he may well be about to. Oh, what is this? Each player heals each of their characters. Yeah.
And this is a PC errata. The original just said each time you move here, each player heals each of their characters, which made it a common combo piece to make your fellowship pretty much invincible.
Get it every site and heal everybody as you go. Yeah, so she did at least draw them back. She can replay them. She can dump one. You know, do everything she can to filter for Smeagol cards. Baden Homestead no longer has any tokens.
Can it self-discard to do the same thing? Yes, it can. So that's one more.
Oh, yeah. So one can be used one more time.
Yep.
Depending on what else was drawn there, may be worth just tossing it and reconciling it away.
Right.
Being stuck with one in hand.
I mean, yeah. Uh-oh. Okay, that was a replacement. Did not gather that. So that's only the second forest to come down. So you have all these Lost in the Woods that can possibly swing things, but because of the bows, there haven't been any skirmishes for the last few sites.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen a proper skirmish the whole game on against Chadwick's Fellowship. He does have a few strength boosts on the field, but those strength boosts enduro.
Yeah, there have been a couple, but yeah, the vast majority of them have been archery finishes.
Yeah. And there's the fourth Lost in the Woods.
Kind of surprised that she's not replaying the whatever it was they're moving towards us, whatever.
Which one?
The one that she used to cycle through all the Nazgul. Because 2 of them were put on top of her deck. I'm kind of surprised that she didn't at least put it back on the table. She had 20 some odd Twilight. It's not like it hurts her to try and put it down. And
yeah, she discarded them both from hand. Moving this way, or discarded from hand. Maybe she had too many cards and had to discard down? I'm not sure.
Setting it up with Osgiliath Reclaimed to try and remove one of those burdens, because now that things are down to the wire a little bit. Uh-oh. Another agreement being played. Is there going to be a second Saruman's Power? Doesn't look like it so far, but with Captured by the Ring, that's going to be putting Gollum in play. And then Evil Smelling Fens has just enough Twilight to be able to pull a Shelob back onto the table. This is looking pretty dire.
It's getting used. That Golem you do not want to assign to Smeagol, but if it's her ladyship, then everybody's going on Smeagol.
Not her ladyship.
Oh. Fellowship's current site.
And Saruman's Power.
Oh. Not a good time for Balrog after a really strong run the last couple of games.
Not only does that eliminate the Smeagol cards, but it also eliminates the Gollum cards that could have potentially been used.
Yeah, it's just an Evil Smelling Fens. It's the only last
sure, but that would have added just a little bit more to some of those spotting cards.
Oh yeah, for sure. I see what you're saying. Discarding down for an Overwhelm?
Why did Chadwick assign to the Ent? Because that was Chadwick that assigned.
No, that Ent is Defender +1. It must have been Balrog.
Oh, I gotcha.
There's more.
Well, you can spot more minions. Okay, I missed that. Yep. So Defender +1 Ent. Totally makes sense why she kept that one around and not the other.
Yeah, she can nuke the field and go for that last run.
Ooh, yeah. And then and then you set it up with Karis Galathon, and
although to be honest, I don't know why you nuke the field if that's your setup and Grima's on the table. I think maybe she should have left Grima there and had that be the only fight. That may have actually been a mistake. Although maybe not, because there was a fierce minion in play as well.
There was a fierce minion in play. There was Gollum still on the table, so if another copy of Evil Smelling Fens was played, although I don't know what exactly could be pulled that would matter.
Well, the only thing that really matters, it's the only one minion can be assigned to each skirmish.
Exactly.
So you fight Wormtongue, not Wormtongue, Grima the first time around, and then you get stuck with whatever the weakest fierce minion is.
Oof.
With the ring, I think you could have done it. Oh, I mean, fight Fernie the first time around. Oh no, you can't. You can't assign Fernie. Fernie,
yeah.
Chadwick's declaring
wait,
game.
What? While you can spot a Hobbit, the free people.
While you can spot a Hobbit,
okay,
there's
that's right.
PC
yes,
errata.
Yes, we put the errata on there specifically so that Fernie couldn't be used to just constantly nuke or just take advantage of ARB text. Smeagol doesn't have any, but there are various other alternate ring bearers that add threats or burdens every time you assign that ring bearer to a skirmish.
Nasty for +2 is enough to stop an overwhelm.
+3 because Webbs is still on the table, but yeah, that's
Webbs is still on the table.
Just enough. That's a far cry from the 54 some odd.
Oh, he's going for it. Smeagol's gonna try.
And then 103, and then. All right.
That was way more intense. I mean, two very good players in this last match.
Yeah.
Really loved seeing
Balrog showing off the strength of quote-unquote solo Smeagol, but yeah.
Really exciting to see how this goes.
Yeah.
I thought Chadwick had it there going into Site 9. I really did. That was well done.
Excellently played by Balrog all throughout the entire series. And yeah, good game from Chadwick as well. So that leaves Balrog undefeated. Played 4 games, won 4 games. And then we have Chadwick and Mozdrev with a 3-1 score, and Olin, Sandros, Stefan 77, Wingfoot 81 going 2-2, Destali and Quincy Jones going 1-3, and then Basmelis going 0-2. So it looks like he lost both his games and then dropped out. Okay, well, this has been a fantastic event. Oh wait, it's still going on. I'm sorry, we're not done yet. Wingfoot and No, it is done. I'm sorry, I was totally wrong. This is a completely different. I saw it was a private match, and I was like, oh well, that means that it's a it's got to be that game, and it was expanded PC and everything. But no, that is someone just playing a pickup match afterwards.
Different group.
Yep. Okay, well, that was the EU WC circuit for July. There will be another one here in just a couple of hours, an hour and a half looks like, starting at 1700. Me and Mock will not be here to commentate that particular one, but maybe we can, maybe somebody could do a review stream afterwards or something for it. But it won't be us, not today. So thank you very much.
But if you're interested in a post-review stream, I could make time tomorrow or later in the week.
Yeah. For sure. If it works out, I'm not sure about my schedule today, but all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and thank you all to the players for participating. And yeah, we'll go ahead and shut down the stream. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Well, and thank you, Ketura, for hosting these and keeping them going.
Absolutely.
These are great. When I don't join you, I always watch them afterwards. I think they're really well done.
Yeah. Thanks.